Hello everyone, hello Area41. Nice to be here, really happy to be here, and nice weather in comparison the weather in Abu Dhabi when I came from yesterday. In Abu Dhabi right now about 45, 46 in the shadow. It's really hard, and yeah, nice weather, amazing, and amazing atmosphere here. So I will talk about SD1 technology and practical threat modeling for SD1. And in one sentence, that we can say results that SD1 new hope, because we hope that security in a high level, but we will see what happens. So first of all, let us introduce yourself. Our main cyber physical troublemaker, Sergey, is not here today, unfortunately, but he's like a driver of our team. He's the main leader of SCADA Strangelove team. Well, my name is Alex. I'm a security researcher from dark matter company from United Arab Emirates. Well, also I'm SCADA Strangelove team member. I've been here 2 years ago presenting a talk about cyber attacks on critical infrastructure. I did pen test a lot, but now I'm retired. And my main interest right now in industrial control system, proprietary protocols, and low-level mobile platforms, especially system on chips. Well, I like to give presentations, I like to give trainings and workshops for fun, of course, and for profit, and also non-profit. And I used to work in Kaspersky Lab and Positive Technologies.
Hello all, and I'm Denis, I'm security researcher. I'm from Russia, Siberia, Tomsk. I'm doing security research in crypto, web application, and also I'm teaching in Tom State University.
Great. Well, let me note that our talk, our results, our jokes, bad and good, I hope. Our mistakes, all of us, is not connected with our employees. So please do not connect results with our employees. Well, this is the agenda. I will talk in big 3 parts. First of all, we describe what is software-defined network, what is SD1 technology, overview. We'll define and describe attack surface and scope, and provide you results of our security assessment. Well, let's start from the first part. Today, customer, client, when he wants to solve business problems, business issues, different type of requirements from the customer comes to the network side. For example, customer want to connect a remote branch with head office. We put a new hardware on data center. I want to have firewall rules, firewalling on the application layer. This is another one device. I want modern malware protection system, another one device, and so on and so on and so on. And as much requirement, then becoming more devices which is interconnected in any layers, and finally it becoming like a big network zoo. Well, software-defined networks in front of solve these problems, and as said Gartner, by end of this 2017 year, around 40% of infrastructure, network infrastructure in corporates will be based on virtualization technology, on SD1 technology. Well, and let's make a comparison between traditional network and software-defined network. Well, I will describe just only from software-defined network, and you will see what is the difference. Software-driven. It means that all things that you need to deploy to put a new device to solve business problems based on network, you just need to, in simple words, just click a button and the new device will be live. Automated. It means that, for example, routing traffic You can send different application traffic on different ways, different paths, based on many metrics from the business impact, like bandwidth, speed, like cost of the traffic. For instance, in the night you can send VoIP traffic one way. If you need a secure communication channel, you can send a different way, and so on and so on. Programmable. It's based on network virtualization, network functions. All things can be done over not deploying a new hardware, but just simply create program network functions. Well, and one of the interesting things, it's predictive. Traditional way, it's well, we have trouble, we will solve it, and this is it. Predictive, it's in real-time analyzing logs, real-time analyzing network traffics, and we will try to predict future problems, and in case we have troubles, we already have a solution how to deal with it. We send traffic a different way, for instance. So for the business, there is nothing to do. There is no problem for the business. And finally, application and cloud. So this is a standard way when we want to, like a new branch, set up and create new branch. For example, Office 365. We just deploy and install software on the cloud, and employees are ready to work. This is the main comparison between software and traditional networks. Well, in base of architecture, software-defined network is one place. In comparison with traditional way, when for one network function, we have different hardware, as I said before. But in virtual things, we have one hardware, and based on the hardware, we build instances for operation system, and build on top of the stack instances of network functions like routing, firewalling, application protection, and so on and so on.
Okay. Dendros says that there are many interesting features from security and networking point of view that should be used in modern WAN networks. For example, multi-tenancy, next-generation firewalls, DDoS, UTM, IDS, IDPS, DPI, and so on, so on, so on. And the main conception here is fabrics or service chaining that provides ability to chain different network functions implemented as virtual network functions. And there are two main delivering models for these security services. The first is called VCP. CP is customer premises equipment, and the idea is that traffic is redirected to cloud and analyzed there. And in UCP model, traffic is analyzed on customer side. It's not redirected to cloud. And in this case, common hardware platform can be used.
Well, sounds good. Many vendors say that the best thing of SD-WAN technology is better security. Of course, moreover, even military forces want to use SD-WAN technology because, of course, security, low cost, and flexibility of deploying new devices. Well, let's take a look. How is reality with security and modern and young technology like SD-WAN? Okay, Denis?
And let's begin with our approach that we used in this research. We use not traditional method. We call this attack-driven approach. And the idea is that we first deployed different SD-WAN solutions. Then we hacked them, and then we provide some analytics and some analysis to enumerate different new threats, new vulnerabilities, attack vectors, and so on. And of course, we used the responsible disclosure model. We contacted with different vendors, and we will give some more information about the answers, reactions on our research. And I think you know that there is interesting conception, hack yourself first, and we've used another conception called hack SD-WAN first. Let's begin with some terms in SD-WAN field. And the basic idea that SD-WAN is a principle of physical separation between two planes, control planes and data planes. The second idea that is used in SD-WAN is network function virtualization. This is principle of separation networking hardware from the software. Network function is well-defined functional behavior that has API, external API, and network function is implemented using virtualized network function, or VNF. And examples of VNF are DPI, DPS, load balancing, NAT, malware inspection, and so on. And the last conception calls NFVI, Network Functional Virtualization Infrastructure, that is hardware and software on which VNFs are deployed and run. Controller, orchestrator, and managers are entities that provide ability that this architecture can be worked. Initially, NFV architecture was defined by ETSI group, and you can see here many interfaces, elements, components, and so on. And there were defined 5 basic interfaces that could be used in the system, interface with VNF, between VNF, and so on. And it should be noted that it was very simple. But now there are many other models. For example, Verizon defined their SDN NFV approach, reference architecture, and it defines more layers, more interfaces, points, components, and so on. And you can see that the attack surface for SDN and NFV is really, really big. In this field, there are several papers and research devoted to threat modeling and different aspects of SDN and NFV technologies. And those works consider and describe attack surface, traditional attack surface, traditional attacks, and threats. At the same time, these works orient on general SDN and NFV technologies, and they don't take into account SD-WAN features like multi-tenancy, VRFs, dynamic tunneling, overlaying, zero-touch provisioning, security services, and so on. And now let's look on SD-WAN technologies from the different point of views. From the manager's point of view, SD-WAN consists of different planes: orchestration, management, data control plane. From the network engineer's point of view, SD-WAN consists of several boxes, implemented different traditional topologies, for example, hub and spoke topology, and there are several branches and several spokes. Connected using MPLS or different and other network technologies. From software architecture point of view, we can see different protocols and interfaces connected different planes. XMPP, SSH, REST, LDP, OMP, that can be custom protocols or well-defined and standardized. The XLAN MPLS, traditional transport on data plane, and so on. And system engineers looks on SD-WAN from platform, different low-level interfaces, different I/O interfaces, services. But software engineers that should implement concrete SD-WAN solutions, unfortunately, takes open source or well-known products, for example, Strong SWAN, Suricata, Mod Security. They, of course, don't implement own security features. And there we can talk about SD-WAN solutions consisting the same security features. Almost all SD-WAN solutions used the same open source software from this slide. Based on the security assessments that we will talk on the next slides, we created threat enumeration, threat model. You can look through these slides later, and now I will skip this, and we will talk about how we enumerate these threats and attacks.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let's start from the scope of research, what we analyzed. So, many vendors promised that the SD-WAN technology, virtual appliance, is a new paradigm, new in front of solving network issues, network problems which are required by business. But our approach, one of them is, but the traditional way we have lowest privileges, like this is a system, there we are, we're trying to get access from the external side, we're trying to escalate privileges and get root. But in our case, so we started from the different way, back way, like we have a root, and we try to analyze what attack surface can be covered by the user and go upper and upper and upper, and to get access to see what will happen with from the user side, like analyzing network traffic, controlling traffic, management interfaces, and so on. And I highly recommend to check Jeremy Brown talk from Zero Nights conference. It's quite good. Well, all hacks, start from the Googling, and Google, and well, in this case, you just Google for one vendor and find out Python script on GitHub. This Python script talk with API of the vendor's solutions, and it was hard-coded credentials, looks like, and again default credentials for the system. This is old problems, but still exist in 2018. Well, and another one, we Googled for management interface of one vendor. Well, usually we have management interface like over SSH or Telnet. It's like a restricted shell with hard-coded commands. This is it. But it's based as a restricted shell based on the operation system. It works up to of the operation system shell, and it was vulnerability. Can we say that hard-coded string which can give you operation system shell is it vulnerability, of course. But it was 2015, and it was patched. And the same vendor bring us the same vulnerability, but a different way. In March 2018, it still exists. So, moreover, and you can see on the picture that we have restricted shell, but using hard-coded string, SPS shell, we have root privileges on the operation system. Bad things. So it looks like a blue pill is a new red one pill. Yeah. Well, yeah, Google Foo is quite good and give you more details about the system. From the different way, just grabbing the password, logins of the config files, code, parts of the code, log system, we found out that many places, whereas passwords all hard-coded, and this is not the obvious way, not documented on official manuals from the vendors how to change it, how it works. It still exists, a strange thing. Well, another one security feature in Commerce that management interface secured by working binded on localhost. Of course, in traditional way, it's not secure way, but it can bring hard problem, not so big problems to attacker. But if we take a look on the architecture of the SD1 technology, we know that operation system works on one hardware level, and we put on top of the stack instances of appliance that we want to work. But on the level of operation system, all of them, in case of management interface works on localhost, we can talk with different instances, but it's still localhost, and having access to only one instance, which is by design should be isolated, we can talk with management interface of all instances. Of course, it's not secure. Well, and we did some forensic things. In case of, we have Amazon instance and deploy SD1 solution. During installation, deploying, we noticed, just looking inside of bash history file, that there exists some kind of configuration script which start, do some things, and delete it. Okay, what happened in this script? What the script did? So just simply mounting, because virtual appliance, it's just simple image of a virtual machine. Mount or unplug drive of virtual machine, and here we are. We can find out many things. So we found out that this script just put hard-coded hash to etc shadow file. Okay. We tried to find out what was this password, and obviously the password based on the name of the vendor. Be creative. Well, you know that pass traversal, one of the most popular, just with SQL injection, comment injection, pass traversal, many things. But to be creative, what do you want to take a look on the first step when you find out pass traversal? Of course, we want to check etc shadow, well, in case of Unix system. Yeah, we got it. We got content of etc shadow. It means that web server work under root privileges. That's a problem. Well, in case that you can find out interesting thing from log files, from the you can break hashes. Well, you can break in many cases because hashes algorithms very bad and outdated. Most of them, from our experience, based on DES. This year, DES, bad things. But, well, if you don't able to do things that I mentioned before, just simply patch operation system. Again, you have image of a virtual machine, put whatever you want in any place that you want to have, like a patch shadow, put a binary patch boot scripts and deploy on the system. Because there is, during deploying of the virtual machine, there is no integrity checks. Well, we check internal packages, internal applications, just simply using a vulners scanner agent, and we found out that many packages are outdated. Moreover, you can see the base of cryptography based of OpenSSL library. It's like must-have library. It's it's 26 years, 12 years ago. Why we use these days? It is very outdated. But just we noticed that this library, happily, not vulnerable to very popular Heartbleed vulnerability. Okay. In comparison with SCADA systems, from our experience, more fresh version is vulnerable. It's another one things, the very bad things, it can be solved. I don't know why it still exists. It's sudo configuration. Sudo is everywhere. Any scripts, Perl scripts, PHP scripts, they execute commands under sudo privileges. Moreover, you see on the screen that you have first shell, a management shell. You have to use vulnerability sudo -i, and here we are. You are root. That's a problem. Denis?
Now let's briefly consider a web attack surface. And first of all, SSL TLS transport. And here we can see the same problems as in the internet. No forward secrecy, vulnerable TLS protocols, TLS 1.0 or 1.1. Protocols is vulnerable to beast and lucky 13 attacks. Insecure cipher suites containing primitives with weak crypto parameters. Insecure, outdated, obsolete RC4 cipher, and so on. Old libraries. On client side, we can see that unfortunately developers don't know anything about CSRF attacks, and they use very weak protection methods based on content type header, or doesn't use it at all. And of course there are many XSS, and vendors said XSS is not a bug because XSS are blocked by Chrome. And it is very important that they said the UI is not open to the world. And later we will see that is not true, actually. On server side, no access control, but access control is very important for multi-tenancy application that is implemented by SD1. Of course, injections everywhere, SQL injection, XPath, stored XSS, comment injection. Very old, interesting host header positioning, weak CSRF protection, slow HTTP DOS everywhere where Apache server is used. The same issues on web interfaces implemented, REST, for example. And very interesting, the developers confuse the client side and the server side, and access control checks implemented on client side in JavaScript and browser. They checked login and passwords on client side, access control levels, RBAC policy, all of these checks implemented in JavaScript and browsers.
Yep. So let's imagine that we rooted device. So next step will be collect as much as you can the source code and use your favorite source code analyzer. In our case, we use application inspector from Positive Technologies, which found out interesting thing. In this case, you see that this is a vulnerability that was patched by the vendor. Announced that it was patched, but so our tool find out a different payload, different way how to execute person system command. patched, but still exist in different way. Sounds good. Another one thing, it's facepalm again. Vulnerability was in a GET request, but simply changing GET to POST, it still existed, still triggered. How they check the code, I don't know. Oh, yeah, of course, all of us don't put only commas to try to trigger SQL injection and so on, but working with AAA, many A to put in input of binaries, we try to trigger memory overflows. Of course, in our case, we found out many things, many problems with buffer overflows, but following approach of responsible disclosure, unfortunately, we can say more details right now, but a lot of memory problems exist in many solutions from big vendors. Well, another one thing that we want to mention, that many developers love to put and their code interesting things, any comments. It's fun thing that you read in the source code and find out easy to understand things. In our case, we find out mentions for Marvel company. Many functions started from Marvel sucks. So we try to figure out why Marvel sucks, but we don't have an answer. Well, another one, cool security feature, which promised by the vendors, that they have, each vendor have a security team, CERT center. So we follow in responsible disclosure approach. We found out many vulnerabilities. The next step, try to contact with vendor. So we try to find out contact details, emails of the vendors. Unfortunately, we didn't succeed on this one. The next step was, okay, we don't have contacts, we don't have emails, find out over LinkedIn. We tried to contact with one of them over LinkedIn with CEO. Thanks David, he replied very quickly, and we sent details over secure channel to the vendor. So if you find out vulnerabilities and you are not succeed to find out details, just simply connect to what? Yeah, simply keep calm and email directly to CEO. Well, you remember that we mentioned, not we, that one vendor mentioned that web interface not facing to internet. Of course, we didn't trust it, and we want to check how many SD-WAN solutions face into internet. We use open source like Shodan, Census, and we found out around 8,000 devices worked with internet. Of course, you know what that means. Of course, during our analysis, we found out that some IP addresses of SD-WAN solutions which face into internet, they are crosses with shells which selling on the dark market. The bad guys selling the shells, and they don't interested what is it like. Is it a Unix server? Is it a home router? Is it modem? But some of them was SD-WAN solutions. You know what it means, having access to SD-WAN appliance, SD-WAN solution. You can control lower layer and application layer of the customer, for instance. That's a problem, because again and again in 2018 exists problem with default credentials. I don't know how to solve. Well, in our experience, moreover, you have just click the button. This exists in one solution. Administrator access without password, and just to get remote management interface, just click the button. Well, another one thing, not only the password, but SNMP. Sometimes the developers and IT administrator don't think that SNMP it's the way how can system be. It's one of the part of the way how the system can be compromised. We did interesting research on Siemens PLC controllers, and it has SNMP enabled by default, and SNMP helped us to get full access to the device, but in combination different attack vectors. In SD1, well, one of the vendors says that, well, SNMP disabled by default, and well, we didn't trust again. We checked internet, and for Silver Peak solution we found out around 200 devices facing the internet and having SNMP enabled. Moreover, it's again trap community string, read-only community string with public, which public by default. Well, another one cool security feature is zero-touch provision in the cloud. In simple words, vendor just by customer request in one click deploy a new appliance, new virtual SD1 solution in the cloud. So we take a look at the big vendors like Citrix, Cisco, Silver Peak, what version exists on marketplace on Amazon. And in June this month, vendors give customer not up-to-date versions of the solution, which means that there is difference between up-to-date version from the client, from the vendor, and vendor again give not fresh version of the SD1 solution to the customer. There is a comparison of the version on Amazon marketplace. Well, Denis, you want to describe? Well, this is a summary of our research. We didn't say which vendor has which problems, but this is the main. You see many red crosses with the main attack surface problems. This is the vendors that was analyzed by our team. The big vendors like Cisco, Citrix, Silver Peak, and so on. Well, finally, we want to bring to world. SD1 technology, it's very good. The idea is very good to make world safer, make world easier, to bring all these things in the cloud, virtualization. This is it, and this is it. But you see that developers didn't follow their mistakes, didn't follow security, community awareness. We bring in new things like coding style, secure code style, SDL approach, but where is it? This is a new technology, very young technology, but looks like it developed 20 years ago. It still contains bad and stupid things. So this is why it failed. The SD1 solution that was promised by the vendors, it's not replacement right now for traditional network solutions, because the main problem is security. The security level of SD1 solutions still not much better than traditional way. This is it. Thank you, all of you. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask us right now or later. Feel free to contact, and thank you, all of you.
Great. Thank you very much, gents. That was very interesting to hear again. Does anyone have any questions at all? We have a bit of time still for a bit of Q&A. Anyone anywhere?
Yeah, maybe in craft, maybe after craft beer.
Yeah,
great.
Sure, you can grab a beer and everyone becomes experts then. Okay, looks like they're making it easy for you today. Beautiful. Okay, in that case, yeah, thank you once more.
Thank you.